Season 4 starts with a montage of heroes beating on some villains and the citizens looking at Mark like he's King Vaughn, which has Mark in a dilemma as he feels that he can't take time off due to how everybody sees him. We see Cecil talking to Rudy, and no, I'm not calling him Rex. It wasn't enough to steal his face. You want to steal his name too? You're weird. Cecil wants everyone to rejoin the weakest superhero group of all time, the non-Guardians of the Globe. They're skeptical due to what Cecil did to Mark last season, but still choose to join back. Rudy also wants to be the leader, but Cecil says,
"You're not that guy."
Who the fuck is this? He gets this guy to be the leader. Mark shows up to help some construction workers, but they're not the ones that called. When he suddenly hears some voice talking.
Seeing those variants body people and you getting your ass beat for like the 30th time was music to my ears. Because we could finally have fewer mouths to feed.
Then Mark gets attacked by a whole red dinosaur. Mark does take him out, but it turns out that the dinosaur is actually a guy. Mark is about to turn his face into minced meat until the non-Guardians of the Globe came to take dinosaur-human hybrid. Even Mark has dinner with Eve's dickhead-ass parent. Her dad tells Mark pretty much to stay away from Eve. Also, after making Mark a coffee, it dissolves in the sink, showing that Eve's powers are fading away. The day is only going to get worse, because not only does the set quiz return, but this woman who looks like if Thor and Wonder Woman had a kid appears attacking a whole power station. For some reason, she needs that power for her people. Meanwhile, we see Oliver with a new suit, which is low-key hard as fuck. The non-Guardians of the Globe arrive. They try to trap the Sequids, knock them out, and teleport the citizens to safety. But those Sequids appear to be way too much. Back at the power station, Mark arrives, giving Thor Woman a nasty punch. And because Eve's powers are disappearing like my dad when I was born, Mark has to tank attacks and takes the episodic L. Even though Eve doesn't have her powers, she still has them hands. Now she knocks the sonic rings out of Thor Woman. Cecil arrives shortly after to tell Mark and Eve about the Sequid invasion. Due to Eve's deteriorating powers, Mark is the only one that goes. Mark arrives and starts putting in work. Rudy knows that there's some more underground, but No Name right here is on a power trip and orders him not to go. Rudy doesn't care though, because he ends up going into the sewer anyway. He turns out to be right, but out of nowhere gets hit in the back of the head. And what I want to know is, why did the Sequids wait for him to wake up? They attacked everybody on site but decided to give him a fair fade? They pushed him on the wall like a badass little kid. He somehow frees himself and frees and teleports to people along with himself. The one guy left controlling the Sequids has the dome on the brink of breaking. Bulletproof tries flying the disruptor to Mark, but isn't fast enough. So before the dome breaks, Mark kills him. It cuts to Conquest, trapped in whatever you want to call this. And what do you know? He escapes. Who would have called it? Cecil keeping Conquest alive might be the dumbest decision of the entire show. We see Nolan's backstory, and growing up as a Viltrumite was insane because Nolan is ready to snap this kid's head if they answer his question wrong. We also find out about Argel, who was a former emperor of Viltrum before being killed by the traitor. It's Nolan's birthday, so his parents decide that the best gift would be an ass beat, and Nolan must have cussed his mom out to get his ass beat like this. Shortly after, Viltrumites start bleeding out of their eyes and dropping left and right. They would be infected with the Scourge virus, a highly contagious and deadly virus, specifically heir to Viltrumites disguised as a meteor. This killed billions of Viltrumites, which is the reason that Nolan was on Earth, to find a species compatible enough with Viltrumites to breed with. Sounds like an excuse to get freaky deaky to me. Alan takes Nolan to the coalition of planets to talk to Dadius. Dadius sends them on some wild hunt for weapons and beings that can help them with the war. They somehow convince a guy named Speed Racer, who Nolan trapped under some rocks for hundreds of years. Goes to Battle Beast planet to look for him, but he isn't there. And this planet, who can't offer help, but one of their guys by the name of Tech Jack is supposedly on Earth. The same guy that killed that one Mark variant last season. Lastly, they arrive at a frozen planet that has what is called Ragnars, being so deadly to Viltrumites that they had to put a disc on their sun to freeze the planet. Nolan tells the pilot to move the sun, but the rest of his brain cells must have been hibernating because he blows up the disc, which dethaws the Ragnars. We see firsthand how powerful they are, as they're making Alan and Nolan look like regular humans. Just in time, Alan's girlfriend shows up as they fly away to safety. They arrive back to the coalition. Dadius wants to speak with Nolan to tell him to bring Mark, but Nolan doesn't want to bring his son into a war. That's when Dadius gets the bright idea to show Nolan a new and approved Scourge virus, revealing that he was the one that created the original one. Nolan is pissed, saying that he killed billions of his own people, but Dadius says that we did the same to many species, so what's the difference? And after hearing that, Nolan spares him. He gets Dadius to agree to use the virus only as a last resort and goes to get Mark. We then see Conquest back at Viltrum and starts bowing down to Thrag, begging him for a painful death, but he says that he won't accept failure. We see a brief meeting with Machine Head and Titan. Machine Head wants Titan to work under him, but Titan wants to remain his own boss. Meanwhile, Cecil is concerned about Mark due to killing that civilian, as well as Rudy, who believes that Mark shouldn't have killed the man controlling thousands thousands of sequids. Was he supposed to let the dome break and the planet get taken over? He goes into the shower and a sequid jumps out of his mouth. It's killed by Monster Girl, but this changes his stance on what Mark did. Titan is at the park chilling with his family when can't even chill at the park nowadays. Mr. Liu's assassin tries killing his family, but green hair dude saves them. When Titan gets his hands on him, he starts beating the fuck out of him. Eve meets with Mark to tell him some bad news, that her powers are gone. So she gets help from Rudy. He's doing all kinds of tests on her body when the alarm sounds. The Flaxens have spun back again. And speaking of spinning the block, Titan is about to get his revenge on Mr. Liu. He calls for Mark, but gets Oliver instead. And if I was Titan, I'll be mad as shit. Not only did I get Invincible's weaker little brother, but he's putting his dirty ass feet on my desk. Get your dirty ass feet off my desk. Cecil gets Mark and the non-Guardians of the Globe to help. The Guardians of the Globe are actually doing good, which is surprising, but I can't say the same for Mark. He's getting jumped by these robots specifically built to kill his dad. On the other side, Oliver and Titan arrives to run the fade with Mr. Liu. And by fade, I mean running away and calling Eve to bring Mark. Rudy knows that the Flaxens are gonna keep coming through the portal, so him and Monster Girl runs in to bomb them, causing the Flaxens to age rapidly. He also sees a whole army ready for another invasion, so he persuades the Guardians of the Globe to try to run into the portal. But one Thraxen takes his last breaths to explode this to close the portal, leading to Monster Girl and Rudy being trapped in. Mark is called by Eve, arrives to help Oliver as they tag team against the dragon, to the point that both of them runs away. But after that fight, Mark sees Titan and does him like how Titan did that one dude, tell him not to fuck with his family. Since his possible protection is gone, Titan joins back with the order. But to his surprise, Mr. Liu joins too, and it's also revealed that Eve is pregnant. Rudy might be the smartest dumbass, because how do you decide to test everything on her besides her being pregnant? I guessed that while watching. I could have told you that. The next thing we see is Damien Darkblood in hell with his sister fighting this magma woman named Volcanica. They over here boxing, but Volcanica proves to be too much for them as she grabs Damien and stabs him through his armor. While she's distracted, he cuts her hand to free himself and gets hit by Domina just to still be standing.
All of that effort for nothing. I'm about to show you what a true demon is.
Fight back, nigga! Fight back! Fight back! Fight back!
Even with her head split open, she still is powerful enough to eviscerate their whole team. She then attacks Damien and Domina again, hitting Domina with one of the nastiest punches I've ever seen, and fills her entire body until she explodes. This might be the worst way to go out. For some reason, she leaves Damien alive and leaves. Damien picks up all the missing pieces of his sister and carries her to Satan himself. Satan creates a ritual to restore Domina back to health. Meanwhile, Damien uses Nolan's blood from the original Guardians of the Globe's crime scene to summon Omni-Man, but gets Mark instead. Damien then gives a pretty long reason on why he summoned him to hell, but to try to keep things short, Volcanica hates humans and wants to kill everyone on Earth. So she wants to summon these vicious creatures named the Vile that came from the fourth age of existence. They also want to kill humans, but Satan and his demons have been fighting them for eons to keep the people of Earth safe. Pretty much, demons are actually good guys who are the reason that humans haven't been wiped from existence. Satan wants to get his infernal crown back from Volcanica, which is why he looks like this. So Damien and Invincible go into a pit, snatches the crown to hand back to Satan, and we finally see his actual form. His ass is still ugly. So now we got Satan and the Darkbloods versus Volcanica and her magma army. Invincible takes Satan to Volcanica, then clears the path for everyone, just for everyone to get taken out. I mean, look at them. How do you get burnt into a statue? Damien is down, and she got her flaming hot claws sink deep into Satan. But that's when Invincible decides enough is enough and punches her entire head off. Every time she gets up, he knocks her out again, to the point that she gives up, but says that this isn't over. One of those vile creatures also appear, but they don't seem as dangerous as intended, because Mark sends him flying in one punch. Now that everything is done, both Invincible and Damien are sent back to Earth. Satan thinks that there's another reason why Volcanica hates humans, so he wants Damien to investigate. Mark grabs his original suit and talks with Debbie. Debbie tells him and Oliver that she plans on selling the house and is moving in with Paul. Eve also shows up to talk with Mark to tell him that he's about to have the most powerful child in the universe. But before she can get a word off, they are shocked to see Nolan and Alan the alien, telling him that it's time for war. Nolan convinces Mark to join the fight. He goes to talk to Debbie to apologize about everything, attacking him, murdering everybody, even calling her a pet, and even says that he misses her. She mentions that he technically cheated on her with Andressa, but he says that Oliver's mom was a mistake, which makes Debbie hate him even more. Debbie says that he ruined his life and bloodies her own knuckles trying to beat on him. Then she makes him leave the house. We are then officially introduced to Tech Jacket, who's just a teenage girl named Zoe. Alan goes to meet her and her dad so that she could possibly join the war against the Viltrumites. You would think that Zoe's dad would be like, nah, I'm not letting my daughter fly into space to fight the strongest, most cold-blooded beings in existence. But he decides to let her go. Back at Mark's house, Oliver finds out that Nolan was there and he even say what's up to him. He beat his first son's ass and then there's a deadbeat to the other. Might be the worst dad in fiction. He knows that Mark is going to leave with Omni-Man. Oliver says he wants to go too, but of course Debbie and Mark says that you're staying your ass at home. Oliver says that he wasn't there to save his other mom, but he's gonna be there for this one, and you have to respect it. So Mark and Oliver say goodbye to everyone and meet up with the gang. Everybody is chilling in the ship when the engines start to fail all of a sudden. They have to split the ship when some of it explodes. When Mark looks, he sees Oliver knocked out and rushes to wake him up. And as Oliver is still readjusting, they get the craziest surprise of all time as they see two Viltrumites and Conquest back from the dead. Oliver hasn't learned his lesson from the first Conquest fight because he rushes him just to get backhanded. It seems that Oliver is stronger now because he starts spamming punches, dodges, then gets grabbed by Conquest. Conquest is pushing his head so blood is coming out of his eyes. He's about to do him like Omni-Man did Red Rush, but Omni-Man rocks Conquest. While Conquest and Nolan start fighting, Tech Jacket and Alan are fighting a mustache Viltrumite, while Mark easily knocks down Terry Crews. Nolan and Conquest are still boxing when Mark speeds in and punches the shit out of Conquest. Mark is wondering how he's still alive and is probably gonna beat the absolute shit out of Cecil when he sees him back on Earth. Conquest starts talking crazy, saying that he can't wait to meet his girl again and to drink her blood. Mark starts putting in work and is actually holding his own against Conquest, which is kind of shocking. Back to Tech Jacket, she gets her entire face stumped on. Dude right here looks like he is about to catch his first body of the night. That's if Buddy would actually do something. Might be the worst soldier of all time. Alan comes in and saves her life. Those aliens from season 3 come back and start shooting at everyone. Oliver is fighting Terry Crews and hits him with a UFC ass kick. Oliver then gets punched in the stomach, knocking the wind out of him. Nolan saves him again, but Oliver can't breathe due to the punch. So Omni-Man tells him to fly to the planet over there to catch his breath. Mark and Conquest are still fighting when they notice Oliver going towards that planet. So Conquest chases after him, and Conquest is right behind him, about to give him the most vicious smack in history. Look at the smile and the pure malice in his face. But Mark tackles him down to the ground. He has his hands wrapped around Conquest's neck, strangling the life out of him. Conquest starts doing anything he can to get Mark off him, punching him in the gut, ribs, and destroys damn near everything in the planet, but Mark keeps that hold tight on his neck. Mark has Conquest on the ground, trying to squeeze the last breaths out of Conquest until he gets his back blown out and Conquest starts digging in him. Pause. For obvious reasons, I can't show this on YouTube, but this is one of the most gruesome scenes I've ever seen in any show because Conquest is pulling his intestines from the inside out. But with that, Conquest died, and Oliver and Omni-Man arrive to see the aftermath of the battle. Back to Tech Jacket and Alan, they decide to run away to safety, hiding inside the Viltrumite's ship. Alan's girlfriend is ordered by Thaddeus to come back to Telestria, even though everyone is missing. He officially declares war against the Viltrumites as he sends troops to battle them. We see Nolan and Oliver today, and Nolan made a gravestone for Conquest. The same man that killed thousands and almost killed both of your sons. Couldn't be me. Nolan's trying to get Mark back to full health, but because of the Viltrumites, they are stuck on that planet. It will probably be months until Mark recovers, so they won't be able to fight in the war for now. Meanwhile, Craig got info from whoever the Coalition's mole is that they are on the way. Nolan wants Oliver to train to get him better at fighting, but he is like, I already know how to train. You see how I helped with Conquest? Let me remind y'all that he almost died 3 different times to Conquest. As they're training, Oliver pushes Nolan, telling him that the reason he's been so mad at him is because he heard him and Debbie upstairs, and he heard him say that his mom was a mistake. Nolan says that he didn't actually mean it, and that he's trying to do better, trying to be a better person. We then see Alan and Tech Jacket still hiding and playing video games of all things. The ship goes to where some of the Coalition members are battling, so they both dash to get to safety. They're picked up on the Viltrumite's radar, so both of the Viltrumites race after them. Tech Jacket is way too slow, so Alan pushes her forward, then goes back to run a 2v1. They're over here dogging Alan, hitting WWE tag moves on him until we see Tech Jacket come back. And this Viltrumite gets done bad because Space Racer takes off half of his stomach. Steve Harvey decides that he's not trying to lose his life and leaves, while Alan and Tech Jacket go to Telestria. Alan's girlfriend Telia greets him, happy to see that he's alive. But that's not the only person that's been waiting for him, because we get to see Battle Beast has arrived. He went to Alan in search to put some more hands on some Viltrumites, so Alan decides to use them for the war. Speaking of war, through the next 2 months, Battle Beast, Tech Jacket, Jacket, Alan, and everyone else will be battling the Viltrumite army, while Nolan and Oliver try to survive and train. That's until Mark is finally back up and out of his coma. Mark doesn't even have time to process anything because they have to head straight to the coalition of planets, which is great timing because Thaddeus is in a meeting with the other board members when we see Buddy right here swipe something down on the touchscreen. The Viltrumites hit a surprise attack. Dude right here gets it the worst. Buddy right here got split like a sandwich. Those annoying ass aliens are here again, and Thaddeus starts putting the beats on Craig. I never thought that he would be this powerful, but it kind of makes sense. Alan starts banging with Terry Crews again, while Zoe gets her ass beat for like the 12th time. Alan saves her once again and uppercuts the Viltrumite into the atmosphere, just for Tech Jacket to get snatched up by Anissa. Anissa's flying through buildings, and it puts up that Viltrumite special, fiending to kill her, until Mark punches her across the area. They take out the no-name aliens, but they don't kill them. They're enslaved, so Nolan thinks they can help in the fight later on. Everyone is fighting, but the aircraft is still shooting at them. Mark gets Oliver, and together they blow the ship up into smithereens. And Thrag, we see the event. He did not have to stand like that. Thrag sees that the coalition are damn near an equal footing to them, so he orders them all to leave, leaving the coalition with a short but great victory. They're cleaning up after the battle when Talia finds out that someone disabled the defense system. That's when the mole is discovered to be... I don't even know who this is, but he betrayed them in fear of the Viltrumites winning, saying that he's been doing it for years. He gives them info that Thrag is going to regroup and call all the Viltrumites home to plan another attack. Thaddeus has the great idea to not even let them get the leg up by heading to Viltrum themselves. It cuts to a flashback when Emperor Argel was alive. These enslaved aliens have been resisting and bombing shit, so Argel wants to reduce them by 25%, and if they resist again, then they will be fully eradicated. The Deus has an issue with that, but Argel and Thrag are not trying to hear that. So when Argel gets home, that's when Thaddeus kills him. Thrag is now in control, so in order to get rid of any weakness within the Viltrumites, he orders them to kill each other. These are some of the worst deaths imaginable, because this guy gets gutted, this one gets a back readjustment, and this one is the worst of all. I don't even know if I could show this on YouTube. Even the kids are jumping each other. This leaves only the strongest Viltrumites left. Back to the present, everyone is nervous about the fight with Thrag, except Oliver, who says, and I quote,
"No way he lives up to the hype."
Remember this for later on. They get to Viltrum, and Thrag is just standing there, menacingly. Thrag has already planned for this, as Thaddeus gets sliced in the back. Everyone gets active, starting off the war. Nolan rushes to Thrag to get punched by Anissa. Tech Jacket, meanwhile, shoots some dart into this Viltrumite, followed by Alan punching through his body, showing that whatever the liquid is inside of these darts weakens the Viltrumites. Battle Beast gets sliced in the stomach, just to yell out, more.
This nigga is crazy.
Thaddeus starts getting jumped by 3 Viltrumites, so Alan goes to save him, just to get knocked around. Space Racer pops up out of nowhere, looking to catch a body, and this would be his victim. To make matters worse, he has a bunch of Ragnars with him that start slicing them like wild lions, taking one of their faces off and splitting another in half. Nolan just got done with his short fade with Anissa and has his eyes set on Thrag, flying at insane speed just to get sidestepped and hit so hard that it breaks the sound barrier, sending him crashing down into Viltrum. Thrag goes down to Viltrum to talk with him, saying that he needs to come home, and if he does, then everything will be forgiven. But Nolan says that he can't do that after he came for his sons. Thrag asks him if Thaddeus will go easier on them after the war, and since Thaddeus wants every Viltrumite gone, Nolan highly doubts that. He still declines anyway, so Thrag winds up a punch so powerful that it creates a vacuum, punching him so hard that he flies into space, knocking over dead Viltrumites. Space Racer gets grabbed by some Viltrumites and hits so hard that the glass to his helmet breaks. He's over here gasping for air until Alan takes out one of the Viltrumites. Tech Jacket has the technology to regenerate the glass to his helmet. Thrag goes back into space when he is noticed by Oliver. Oliver's stupid ass rushes him and is talking shit until he gets his punch caught. Then Thrag backhands his jaw off while ripping off his arm. Mark sees this and is of course worried, but gets grabbed and thrown by Thrag. Mark throws the punch of a lifetime at Thrag just for him to eat this shit. Mark even hurts his own hand. How do you get hurt by your own punch? He's playing with his meal at this point, because he gives Mark a nasty gut punch and bitch slaps him across space. Battle Beast, after handing Craig his 50th L, sees Thrag. He wants to run the fade, but Thrag is like, no. Punches him and throws him to who knows where. Nolan gathers everybody because he has an idea. They all race to Viltrum, but Alan and Tech Jacket are tackled down, leaving just Mark, Space Racer, Thaddeus, and Nolan. Space Racer shoots his gun towards the planet, and what happens next is one of the craziest things that happen in the entire show, because they go into the planet, flying into the core, and destroys it from the inside out, exploding all of Viltrum. This will also be the biggest mistake of their lives, because Thrag isn't going for none of that shit. He speeds towards Thaddeus and rips his head from his body, then smashes his head, saying,
You're on next.
Mark chases after them, catching up to Thrag, but even both of them together are no match. I mean, look, he's barely trying and they can't do anything. For what I think is the first time in the show, Mark runs away from a fight. He has genuine fear in his eyes, getting hawked down. Nolan punches Thrag, and that's when Mark asks what they can do to stop him. But before Nolan can answer, Thrag guts him, having his entire stomach exposed. Mark punches Thrag just to get headbutted. He has him by the head and is poking his eyes, slowly killing him until he sees what's left of Viltrum and decides to spare him. Mark wakes up as the Coalition found him. They nursed him and Nolan back to semi-full health and even found Oliver. But they've been out for several weeks and are hit with bad news. The Viltrumites have completely vanished and been missing in action since their planet was destroyed, until Mark thinks of where they could have gone, knowing that they headed to Earth. Due to the war, Mark has an insane amount of PTSD as he is hallucinating, seeing the Viltrumites touch down on Earth and killing all the humans. Mark, Nolan, and Tech Jacket are back on Earth, but see that there is not a single Viltrumite there. So he goes to Debbie and lets her know everything that's happened, while Zoe goes to speak with her dad. Nolan also speaks with Debbie, but she of course is still mad at him. He begs her for a second chance to be a better person, and she reluctantly lets him stay on Earth. Mark also sees Eve, seeing that she got a little thicker since she couldn't use her powers. That is when he is hit with terrible news, that she was pregnant before he left the fight. And what's even worse is that she ended up getting an abortion. Nolan shows up to talk to Mark, telling him that the warning system is almost finished, when Debbie comes outside. Since they left Oliver to get treated at the Coalition of Planets, Debbie asks Nolan to take her to Oliver, and they leave Earth. After everything that Mark has gone through, he decides to fly around in the sky to clear his head, when Thrag pops up out of nowhere. There are only 37 Viltrumites left, so he gives Mark two choices. Either they can call a truce, disguising themselves as humans so that they can breed with humans and repopulate the Viltrum Empire, or he can say no and kill billions of humans, enslaving the rest that are alive. Mark, after the hard decision, decides to agree to the terms. And the season ends with Alan getting an encrypted message from Thaddeus, since he is now the leader of the Coalition of Planets, saying that he has a hidden vial of the Scourge virus and wants him to use it on every single Viltrumite. But if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. But it's your boy Savari, and I'm out.